there, welcome to Yield Today of Dow in Candland. We're going to be talking about my three mantras for 2022, and they are the thought of I was not ready, but I was prepared to help me go after more ambitious projects and such. Finally, or not finally, secondly, we have Hakuna Matata, no worries, not going to be worrying about anything. Worry free 2022. And finally, this thought from James Clear that when you make plans, think big. When you make progress, think small. We'll be talking about why I think these are my mantras and some other thoughts I have. And as always, I hope it is a blessing for you and that it helps you grow in your optimism and overall perspective in life. And if the podcast helps you do that, definitely follow, because this is the year the podcast is. I'm going to get really, it's going to be ham. It's going to be good. It's going to be better than ham. It's going to be ham and potatoes. And we're just going to dive right into that now. So I am pretty excited for a new year. It is a real blessing to have a new year, a new beginning to work from, a new everything, It's really nice. And so in case you couldn't tell, I am really excited for the new year. One of my biggest mantras this year kind of came when I was on the plane back home. I was just feeling, so I got to go back home like this past Christmas break, and there was a lot of stuff I wanted to do. It was very ambitious, had big plans, big vision and everything. Well, the vision wasn't quite as big. And then I felt like I hadn't really accomplished everything I needed to. Got on the plane, and I just had this thought like, God, I am not ready to go back to school. And it just kind of came to me, and I wrote a little poem about it. Like, I was not ready, but I was prepared. And so I didn't have to worry about being ready, because I will never be ready. We'll never be ready for really anything. If we only did what we were ready for, we'd probably do next to nothing. But we are all prepared for different things, and we can rejoice in that, move forward in that. And so that's kind of the mantra is like, I don't have to have all these ducks in a row before I go after this thing. Time is going to go by either way. I might as well just shoot my shot and go after it. Obviously, there's some things you want to be more prepared for, but that's kind of the thing is like, there's a point where preparation becomes like procrastination if you're not careful. And so just kind of realizing when I'm getting to that point and just completely busting from the gates. One of my favorite analogies or just perspective image thingies is when I was in track and I saw the sprinters on my team, and they'd set up like the blocks, and so basically the blocks push them so they can go even faster, so they can just get out of there super fast. And that's what you got to be like when you have something you want to go after, and when you realize you're starting to procrastinate a little bit. I've been trying to work on a lot of things to help me not do that this semester, but overall there's just this thought of I don't have to be ready, but I do need to trust my preparation and just take the leap. And I think this alone is going to lead to a lot better podcast episodes, just trying a lot of things. I have some things I want to do this weekend on the podcast. Already planning to get my homework done before the weekend. It's going to be good. And one of the biggest things is just this thought of I don't need to be ready. That's a pipe dream. We don't need that. I just need to trust my preparation. Secondly, we have this thought of no worries, Hakuna Matata. So it's so interesting because I was feeling stressed about the semester, honestly, because it's my last one. And then I kind of have had this thought over the last little bit, like, bro, this is it. No worries, Hakuna Matata. Let's just get it done. Just figure it out. Like, there's nothing to worry about. And especially last year, I worried so much. It's like, oh, I'm not getting this done. I'm laying this person down. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And it was so stressful. And I think I was using so much of my precious energy on worrying about things. And when you are spending so much of your time worrying about things, you tend to do things that you usually do when you're worrying. And so for me, I was watching YouTube, and I wasn't getting on Instagram because I was off of Instagram for the most part last semester. But it was like, it just wasn't good. It didn't put me in this activator mindset because I was worrying, and I was okay with worrying. I was like, this is going to help me be better. This is useful. That's what I was kind of telling myself whenever I would worry. And what I've really seen over the last couple of days, like if I just work really hard and smart and plan things out, I don't really have to worry about anything. And when I do worry, like I don't need to worry. Like, bro, we can just kick that to the curb. And I've already done that a couple times. Like this week is like, bro, it's okay. It's the first week of the semester. We can kick that worry to the curb. And I really love how this is a theme in The Lion King. No worries, Hakuna Matata. Things will come with time. The circle of life is continuously moving. And so, there's miracles happening every day. And I just try to keep in mind, like, in this moment, there's somebody getting a job promotion they've always worked for. There's somebody starting a business. There's somebody asking a girl out who they've been stressed about asking out. And I can do those things too because you know but a lot of it just comes down to taking massive action and not worrying about what you can't do at that time, but just focusing on that action, getting it done, and just not worrying, because worrying makes you a worrier and not a warrior. You need to be a warrior, not a worrier. And being a worrier is it's just not really good. It made me a lot weaker. And yeah, so we're not doing that. Worry free 2022 represent. I think this is going to help me a lot with not stressing about school at all and just going after things and just rejoicing and being happy, because at the end of the day, I'm glad to be alive. I'm really happy, and there's so many good things along the way. I just have to keep moving forward. So those are my thoughts. I'm really thankful I'm giving myself that gift of no worries in 2022. Finally, we have this thought of when making plans, think big. When making progress, think small. I think this is absolutely crucial. I mean, this is from James Clear. I've read his book a number of times, Atomic Habits. I highly recommend it. His newsletter, 321, is also super good. I mean, he recently came out with a habit tracking or habit like course for a month that I'm gonna try to enroll in. Like, he's giving so much value. But this quote is really good, and it's one that I wrote down and put on a sticky note at the end of last semester, and it's still there. I'm looking at it right now. But just such a good thought, because I honestly sometimes think like, oh man, I'm not making enough progress. And that was me last semester. It's like, oh, I have to do like 50 YouTube videos of the podcast, so like pretty much uploading and copying the show notes and stuff. I need to do a bunch of that, and I need to do all this other stuff, and it just led to so much, again, stress and worrying because I wasn't getting that stuff done, and I had all these big plans, but I wasn't okay with making small progress. And when I think of like the most ambitious and happy times of my life, it was when I was slowly working towards a grand vision, and every single day I was getting a little bit closer, and it was just awesome. It's just like moving forward. And so that's honestly been one of my mantras in 2022 so far, is just like I don't have to make a ton of progress today. I just have to make a little bit of progress. Like yesterday I spent like an hour just kind of looking at the podcast YouTube channel and be like, all right, what can we do here? And it was useful. It wasn't game changing, but it was useful, and I was happy. And I was like, the rest of the day, I can just go to the hot tub, go to my award party, and all this other stuff, and it was all good. And I think another cool part of this is like with scriptures and stuff like that, like there's the opportunity to make that thing a part of you, as if that thing like first came to you because you're living it so much. And that's something I really want to come to mind when people think of me, or just for this year, is that I have these big plans, but I am content and I rejoice in making this tiny, tiny little bit of progress every single day. And I think it's going to add up to, no, I know it's going to add up to a lot. It's going to be a game changer. I mean, only like there's that quote that if you improve just 1% every day, you'll improve 37 times in a year, 37 times where you're at. And that's extremely powerful for me. I'm internalizing that. These are And I think this is overall just going to help me a lot with letting go of things I need to let go of, just moving forward, just taking the little progress as a big win, and just rejoicing in that. I think I'm really going to do No, I know it's going to be really good because it's always led to good stuff in the past, just focusing on getting a little bit of progress each day and rejoicing in each day because, I mean, it really does fly by so fast. 2021 was a blur. Not a blur, but it did fly by pretty quickly. Some of the months were a little bit blurrier than others. But anyway, I'm definitely excited to make big plans and make little progress each day. Thank you, James Clear, for sharing your amazing wisdom. So those are my three mantras for 2022. Again, they were this thought of I was not ready, but I was prepared. No worries, Hakuna Matata, and this thought from James Clear that when you're making plans, think big. When you're making progress, think small. I hope that this podcast episode was helpful for you. I'm really trying to double down and build this podcast a lot with your help this semester and get a lot more interviews because I know those have been really enjoyed and I've enjoyed them too. Just with different things that I've struggled with. And if you have anybody that you'd like to be on the podcast, hit me up at Yield to Dave Dallin podcast on Instagram. And I'd be happy to reach out to that person and we'll go after it and we'll do it because why not? No worries. Let's just do it. Let's just try it. Go after it. Enjoy the journey. And yeah, so it's looking pretty good so far. Thank you so much for the support so far over the year. 2021 was definitely the best year for the podcast so far, so I'm really excited to see what we can do in 2022 together. And with that all said, stay tuned for more great stuff. I'll see you on Monday. Don't forget to yield today. It'll be a better tomorrow. All right.